Theo is, I said this a few weeks ago that, man, he's just a guy who works harder than really anyone that I know. The guy is committed. He comes to work every single day. So, I think that the success that we're seeing is just a testament to the work ethic that he has.
Friends, colleagues, comrades, coworkers, welcome into TexAgs Live and hopefully, actually, TexAgs Rewind. Hopefully just a lot of subscribers and fans. That's what I'm hoping for. Today on the program, we had a lot of fun. Ethan Jones, you didn't listen to the show because you don't. But what was your favorite part of the show?
I actually listened to one segment, Max Wright. I took some notes, didn't really take notes, but I liked his insight.
You liked his insight?
He's played for 5 years at A&M. It's just cool to hear the insight into the Arkansas game, how physical it is.
Yeah, he was great. Caitlin Torn?
I'm going to go Peter Burns.
Burns!
Yep, missed him last week, so it's good to hear from him today.
Cade?
You know what? I'll say that it was you and OB with Kirk Bohls on the Go Hour, doing a little bit of renewing the rivalry. I thought that was great stuff today.
We did renew the rivalry. We also had we had Kirk Bohls, Max Wright, Jason Howell, recruiting country. We got to learn a little bit about recruiting stuff. That and more. It's the Rewind.
Right. These are two big games for the Aggies, don't y'all think? I mean, you got Missouri sitting there coming into town next week, and they got a week off, don't they?
Yes, they do. They have a bye week.
Yep.
So and Missouri hadn't shown everything we thought they were going to be. So they're going to get two riled up teams in a row. I think it's just, another must win for Sam Pittman. He's kind of evading the sword after, beating Auburn last week. But, every game's so big. And Bobby Petrino, how bad he wants this game too, right?
Yeah, I don't think he has any animosity toward A&M, but I do think he'd like to show A&M, hey, this is what I could have done for you had I given the chance. But yes, it is two huge games for A&M. But of course, sounding like a coach here, the Missouri game isn't nearly as big if you don't beat Arkansas.
No, absolutely. I think it's a toss-up game. The Aggies, favored 3 or 4? What are they? What's the line
changing.
I haven't seen the line yet, but I would think A&M would be favored.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly, it was 5.5 a few days ago, and it dropped to 4.5. I haven't checked today, but it has dropped. Might be 3.5.
That sounds about right. That sounds about right. But it's funny. It just like when Texas plays Arkansas, this game means more to Arkansas than it does to A&M, right? I mean, especially with Missouri coming up next week, and the fact they've owned them so much. Just squirrely things happen in that series, and they've almost all gone against the Hogs.
So this is a typical talk show host commentary, and I'm just going to say it out loud. I think it's good that A&M struggled a little bit with Bowling Green, because I hope it's not a sign of things to come, but I hope that focus is at a different level, that Coach Elko has seen some of these mistakes and is like, hey, we cannot do that against a pretty good Arkansas team. So I'm hoping that they learn from what we saw last week, in a win, by the way.
Yeah, and sometimes there's more pressure when you're playing at home, especially against, a group of 5 team like, Bowling Green is, but you're pressure. You have more pressure to perform because you're a big favorite and everybody expects an easy win. So I think that kind of goes in A&M's favor too.
When you watch Marcel play, what do you see? Where do you see the growth? Where do you see some areas that you think he needs to kind of improve on?
Yeah, the guy's super athletic. I think everybody sees that. He was able to lead the team rushing last week with over 90 yards rushing. So I think there's no question in his athletic ability. I think that he does, whenever he's relaxed in the pocket and gives himself a chance to go through his progressions, he makes pretty good decisions whenever it comes to throwing the ball. I do think that this past week, maybe he was trying to do a little bit too much whenever he was running the football. He kind of scrambled into a sack with one of those, with the only sack that we gave up during the game. But I think that he's made a ton of progression from the past year to now, and I think that he's building on it every single week. But I would like to see him progress more in the passing game. I think that, especially with hitting deep throws down the field, there's maybe some consistency that could be worked on, and maybe improving that completion percentage a little bit. But he's doing a good job, and I think that his athletic ability is always going to be something that defensive coordinators are going to have to take into account. He's able to run the ball really well and run the ball like a wideout. So, it's a good luxury to have for us on offense. I think that he's going to be a big part of the offense moving forward.
Max Wright on the Boss Firearms Hotline, Aggieland's premier gun and accessory shop. They've got all you need to build your next firearm. Check them out at bossfirearms.com. Max, let's talk tight ends for a moment. Theo obviously looking fantastic. 2 of his 3 catches for touchdowns. I'd like to see the tight ends more involved with the offense, and maybe that'll come here as SEC play starts to ramp up. But what are you seeing from that group? What are you seeing from Theo himself?
Yeah, I think the group is progressing in a good way. I think anytime that you step into a new offense as a tight end, it's hard. I mean, people don't take it into account, but tight ends are probably the second most knowledgeable position on the field behind quarterbacks, maybe behind centers. You have to know protections, you have to know route concepts, you have to know how to run routes, how to block, how to do everything that's required on the opposite side of the ball. But I think that they're progressing nicely. I think that Theo is, I said this a few weeks ago, that, man, he's just a guy who works harder than really anyone that I know. The guy is committed. He comes to work every single day. So, I think that the success that we're seeing is just a testament to the work ethic that he has. Trey Watson and those other guys too are doing great jobs, doing a great job as well. I think that the room's progressing nicely. And, I think that still in the blocking game, there's still some things to be worked on. I think that they can add a little bit more value in the run scheme. I think we're running the ball really well as an offense, and I think that it could even possibly go farther if we get more consistent blocking as a tight end unit. But yeah, I think that they're trending in the right direction, and I think that they're a really good unit who works hard. I think there's no question on the character in that room. So I think that they're doing things the right way. I'm excited to see them progress.
Well, let's talk about the Bowling Green weekend overall, because you sent me an email. There's a lot of storylines that kind of developed that were developing heading into the weekend and as the weekend unfolded.
Yeah, there were. It was a good visit list. You had several committed prospects in town. You had some committed elsewhere prospects, including a tight end that's committed to Bowling Green and Jeremiah Scobie. But one of the biggest was Florida State wide receiver commit Dalen McCutcheon was in town. One of the top recruits in DFW, one of the top receivers in the state, committed to Florida State this summer, and he made it to town with his dad. They watched the game, took in the atmosphere, met with the coaches. You had Chase Sims back in town, committed to Texas A&M, but he's got that OV scheduled to Texas, and that's scheduled for this weekend. But always good to get him back in town the weekend before. We'll see what happens with that visit, but just bringing him in and getting him back around the coaches and fellow commitments, and it's always a good idea and a good refresher, to allow him to see Aggieland and what it is that really draws his attention there. You had Daquan Prevost, 2026, several other 26, standout recruits. Bryce Perry Wright from Buford, Georgia, Joseph Credit, who picked up an offer this summer out of Pearland, Jacoby Dixon, the 27 running back. I think Bronny had him for like 7 touchdowns and is Bronny's best or something this past weekend. But several guys that already have offers that are in that underclass stage, still trying to figure out things, but getting them back on campus, getting them in that atmosphere. That was kind of the main objective, I guess, for this last weekend.
Peter, A&M, Arkansas, I've been kind of wrestling with this game for a few reasons. I'll give you my reasons and you take it from there. One is A&M hasn't been consistent enough this year, and part of that is a change at quarterback with the injury to Connor and Marcel kind of having some growing pains, but looking excellent in the process. Defense not putting 4 quarters together just yet. Arkansas, a team that's kind of catching everybody by surprise, but I still don't know if I buy them yet. So I look at this weekend and I can see multiple different scenarios playing out.
Yeah, and I think it's more of I would say the inconsistency of Arkansas is the most consistent thing about them. Is the fact that they are a roller coaster ride. I said on my show on Monday, they might be the most exciting team in the SEC, if not all of college football, because it can look so incredibly good with Taylor Green and like, holy hell, this guy is a world beater. In the next play, and throwing it into like quadruple coverage and a horrible interception. You're getting the whole experience. But what I do know is that team's fighting for Sam Pittman is season, and whenever he came up to us in media days, we asked him off record, like, hey, man, how's your team? And he's like, listen, I really like my team. And I said, Coach, like, is this like BS coach speak? And he goes, listen, if I didn't like my team, I would change the subject and go, oh, we got a big year ahead of us, and I'd give you all this coach speak. And like, I really do. And he goes, you know me good enough now. I wouldn't say that blank unless I really meant it. And so I think that they feel like they've got a better cast of characters on that, that they feel like they're more of a team together. And that's the scary part. And I'll be honest with you. You go back and look at what Bobby Petrino's done in this offense. He may be as good of a coordinator hire that we've seen in college football, right? As much as people were talking about Blake Baker at LSU and what he was going to bring to the defense and some of the other coordinator hires, I don't know if anybody has kind of re-energized the team more than what Petrino has done. Like, they are going to be a problem. The question is, can you stop tailing? And that's kind of what you think Elko is hanging his hat on, and needs to hang on his hat this week in Dallas.
All right, we're going to close out with the stat from Ethan Jones.
Yeah.
Jones, tell the people the stat.
Yeah, so last season, A&M's defense only had 9 interceptions, which was 84th in the nation, only forced 13 turnovers. In 2022, A&M only snagged 4 interceptions, which is 125th in the nation. Already through 4 games this season, we've picked off the ball 6 times, which rates 8th in the nation.
Excellent stuff. Thank you very much. Tornado, new one for you. Not the Torniac, the Tornado. Tell the people what to do.
Like, comment, subscribe, and tell your friends.
Thank you so much. It's TexAgs Rewind. We'll see you next time. Thanks to Specs and, of course, the Rollo Insurance Studio.